Hello, founders, and welcome to the Startup Foundations podcast. I'm your host, Greg Miaskiewicz. Today on the show, I chat with Andrew Peterson, CEO and co-founder of Signal Sciences, a security startup that recently sold to Fastly for $775 million and one of the largest exits ever for a Los Angeles startup. Andrew discusses how he met his co-founders, how to build a great company culture, and tells the story of his company's recent acquisition. So you just had some big news recently. Your company was just acquired. Signal Sciences was bought by Fastly for almost $1 billion. I'm sure how does it feel kind of at the end of your entrepreneurial journey? You just sold your baby.
It doesn't feel like the end in many ways. I mean, it's funny, like you'll talk to people that like go IPO, right? And you're like, oh, you made it, right? And it's like, no, actually, that's just like a funding round, and you keep going on, and you keep running the company. This is not quite like that, right? Like it's very different, but I there's a real future of our. I mean, it's one of the reasons why we felt really good about having the transaction happen. There's a lot of future in the technology between the two companies, and so it's kind of more of like, look, this initial era is over, and like we're moving on to that next era. That's on one side, right? Like that's on sort of the tech side of like what we built and like the legacy of where that technology will go in the future. The other side is like, look, as a founder, like there's a lot of pressure and stress that goes along with building and building a company, and what building a company means is like building people. Like, and there's a lot of people that rely on you, and they're relying on you for their families, and that's stuff that I never took lightly. Like that's the stuff that I would lose sleep overnight, over time. And so to be able to feel like I can kind of pass the torch for that a little bit to my new employer, like, and do it in a way that like, nobody got let go in the process of when we got bought. And, there's a pretty deep commitment from the Fastly side to make our team and our technology successful. Like, I think it's a really good landing spot for people, and I definitely feel a little bit of weight coming off of my shoulders and some stress off of my off of my back, in the context of the move. So I think all in all, it's yes, like I'm excited about some of the possibilities of what we're going to be able to do together from a technology and a business perspective. But like for a people perspective, like it's a pretty big load off.
Cool. Thanks for joining us, Andrew.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Startup Foundations podcast, a podcast that tells the stories of startup founders and how they built their companies from the ground up. Until next time, keep building and keep innovating.